I hope you didn't give up on Wisconsin. I'm on the record. I did not. We got Tyler Hunt on the line from SB Nation's Bucky's Fifth Quarter to break down the Badgers, who control the Big Ten Western Division. Hey, Tyler, how you doing?
I'm great. Looking forward to watching the Wisconsin Badgers once again this weekend on Senior Day, actually coming up for the Badgers this weekend. So it should be a lot of fun to see that game against the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, the Huskers only at 3-7, but if you've tracked Nebraska football this year, you know that they are giving everybody a fight to the finish. So it should be a good one at Camp Randall. My goodness, Tyler, Wisconsin lost to some really good football teams early in the year. And don't necessarily, folks, look at the score, especially of that Notre Dame game. They were all close games. The Penn State game down to the wire. Michigan got out of control sometime in the third quarter, and Notre Dame to the final 5-6 minutes of the game. So then Wisconsin rights the ship. And I didn't know. It wasn't like I knew for sure, but this does not surprise me. This is Wisconsin continuing to play what they play each and every year, and they just worked out the issues. So first and foremost is the defense. The defense is ridiculously good. It is a vintage Wisconsin defense, which is saying a whole lot because even in a average year, it's a top 15 defense in the country. But this one is lights out, suffocating everybody.
Yeah, sometimes it looks like this defense is playing a different game. It's absolutely been unbelievable. I mean, Jim Leonard's had some good groups. I think this is his best defense since he's been at Wisconsin, and that's saying something because there's been, over his tenure and even before that with Dave Aranda and Justin Wilcox, there's been some good defenses, but I think this group is just front to back. It's not like it's just one guy. I mean, the leaders in Leo Chenal and Jack Stanford at inside linebacker have been phenomenal, but the defensive line, which looked like it maybe was the one area you're maybe concerned about, they've been great, a ton of depth there. The secondary has been really good, experienced with Cesar Williams and Faion Hicks and Scott Nelson and the safeties. So it's been a fun group. It's got it's just a group that, like you said, suffocating, I think is the word to use. I mean, the way they played in that Iowa game and that in that Rutgers game, where it's just like every play, it didn't matter what you tried to do. Wisconsin was just gonna kind of take it over. It's been impressive.
A lot of good defenses across the country at Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and elsewhere in the SEC, but Georgia and Wisconsin playing defense at a completely other level. You may want to look at the schedule and criticize who they're playing offensively, but those teams are going out and scoring much more against other teams and putting up yardage totals against everybody else besides Wisconsin. Again, it's been devastating. All right, so for a lot of people, Tyler, that will see Wisconsin play for the first time, maybe against Nebraska, or what could be a Western Division title game of sorts against Minnesota on into a Big Ten championship game. Highlight a few other players for us on that side of the football.
Well, the defensive side, it's like I said, Chenal on the inside linebacker spot and Jack Sanborn. And then, Matt Henningsen has been a guy on the defensive line that kind of came out of nowhere. He was known for Wisconsin fans, but I think he's played really well. I think the other big guy has been Cesar Williams at cornerback. The last two games, he's had a really big interception that kind of flipped the momentum of the game. So he's been, he's been vital to them. He had that pick six against Northwestern, which kind of against Rutgers, which kind of really put the game what felt on ice. And they had a big pick last week when Northwestern was driving. It felt like a game that, okay, maybe this is going to be a test. And then he had that pick in the end zone, which really then Wisconsin from there just kind of took off. So everyone on the defense has been really good. Offensively as well, they've had some changes there that have really made this group really start to click, and it's been a lot of fun to watch.
When we look at the offense, this was a rare year coming into this season where there wasn't a star running back coming into the season. We talked about that with you several times. Chez Mellusi was off to a good start, was getting the bulk of the carries, the Clemson transfer. Braylon Allen was a guy that started to get some reps, started to get some work. And now that Mellusi's hurt, wow, he's a monster.
Yeah, Braylon Allen's impressive. And I know Wisconsin fans have kind of got tired of hearing it, but the kid's only 17. He re-enrolled to be a freshman this year. He's supposed to still be a senior in high school playing, the way he's running. Probably the Wisconsin State title games are going on right now. And if he was still in school, he's probably running on TV there. But now he's all of a sudden, the star player for the Badgers. And you look at this win streak, that win streak kind of started when he started getting more carries. Even that Michigan game, he got worked into the fold and looked really good. And it's just kind of unbelievable that, this spring when he was a incoming freshman, they didn't know if he was going to play offense or defense. We knew he was a freak athlete and was going to be something special, but they just kind of threw him at running back because he played there in high school. And they said, let's try him there first. And now he's all of a sudden been a conference player of the week last week and freshman of the week over the last few weeks. So he's been incredibly impressive and looks like the next guy in that long line of running backs that's been so good. Taylor, Gordon, he looks like he's going to be the next one in that row.
I've got to think that Wisconsin high school defenders who are participating in the state playoffs are thankful right now. He's running for Braylon Allen, running for $150 against Big Ten defenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So correct me if I'm wrong here, Tyler. This has been my perception of what they've done offensively, and this is a very simplistic perception on my part, is that obviously they had their issues against those three teams that we mentioned out of the gate. There was a sequence with Graham Mertz against Michigan at the end of that first half that I thought, he threw two balls, one for a big gainer and then the touchdown throw that I thought, okay, that's the Elite 11 guy. That's a 5-star guy. That's a guy that people have been waiting to see. There he showed the arm talent. That was pretty impressive. But overall, he wasn't playing well. And they gave him a lot of throws. And just to finish my point, it seemed like they really went to like nth of the degree Wisconsin football to get back on track. Like, you're going to throw it 7 or 8 times. And they got back on track and just really slugged it out on the ground. And now they've opened it up more, and he's throwing 20, 22 passes a game the last few outings.
Yeah, he I think he'd be the first to admit too. He owned his struggles early on in the season. I give him a lot of credit. A lot of kids would have felt that pressure from the fan base and probably crumbled. And he took his lumps and went and got better. I think it was the Purdue game. They only attempted 8 passes, and since then, over the course of this winning streak, I think he's gotten better each and every week. They've put more on his plate each week, and he's gotten considerably better. The last 2 weeks, he's had season highs each week, and he's starting to look like this offense has a lot of balance. Now, part of that is the run game being better and Braylon Allen having to respect that. Part of it also is the offensive line. Early in the season, they were shuffling some guys in and out. I mean, at one point in that Penn State Notre Dame game, they were subbing 3-4 guys at a time in, kind of like a hockey shift, and the line just wasn't clicking. They finally got settled on 5 guys and have played a lot better. So the offense, I think everybody's up their game, but credit to Graham Mertz. He's starting to zip it. I think he had some really good throws last week, and it's the right time of year for him to be clicking, because now all of a sudden you have to at least that the Wisconsin passing game is somewhat there, and that'll be huge for them against Minnesota. And then in a Big Ten title game, you have to be able to throw the ball against a team like either any of them, whoever they meet up with, Michigan State, Michigan, or Ohio State. You're going to need some semblance of a passing game, and they're starting to build on that for sure.
I recently worked out the Big Ten Western Division scenarios, but it's very clear for Wisconsin: win out and they win. So not only do they control the destiny in the division, but they are clearly the best team right now. Not that they're not capable of losing to Minnesota in particular, and also Nebraska, but they have clearly distinguished by the performances against Iowa in particular. And then you see teams like Minnesota stumbling along the way, and Iowa against Purdue, and the effort that you mentioned against Aiden O'Connell and Purdue, where they're putting up points against everybody. That was eye-opening as well. This is clearly the best team in the division.
I think so. I think it's going to be interesting to see if they can finish this out. They've gotten on that run now of 6 straight, and really things are clicking. I think they look like a well-oiled machine right now. They know what they want to do. They want to run the ball. They want to play defense, and I think right now they're in a spot where they can take care of business this week against Nebraska. It sets up a really interesting one next weekend against Minnesota, but you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but you feel confident about that game with the way Minnesota's kind of looked and the way this defense is playing. It's not like it's not like this defense has just, came out of nowhere the last few weeks. They've done this from the opening week. So as long as they're out there, you feel like you've got a good shot. And as long as Braylon Allen and this offense are running the way they want to, you got to feel comfortable with how they're playing. And then hopefully they can win the West and get another shot at someone in the East and get over the hump. Well, that's kind of the big thing now, is if they do get there, can they, exercise the demons of the last few trips, 3 in particular in a row, and knock off one of those teams from out East.
Please like the video, share these videos out on social media, subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Also check out Tyler's work at SB Nation's Bucky's Fifth Quarter as Wisconsin hunts down the Big Ten Western Division Championship. And as you mentioned, it's strange with Nebraska. They're just an oddity in college football that they're 3-7. So that could be dismissed as, okay, let's move on. We get to Minnesota. But if you know anything, they are playing everybody close. Ohio State didn't have them put away until 90 seconds left in the game. They are playing everybody close. So it's got to be of some concern that most likely Wisconsin's not going to blow them out like they did Rutgers and Northwestern. Oh, yeah.
I think the Badgers are certainly due for a game this weekend. I mean, you look at, they didn't play last year, but the previous 2 years, Adrian Martinez has, I think he put up 440 yards his opening game combined against Wisconsin. So that was, and then 309 yards the last time they played. So he's gotten loose for, really making plays with his feet, scrambling to make some throws. He's had some designed runs that he's gotten loose for, but overall, that's been something that Wisconsin's defense has struggled with in past years. Now, I think this defense is even better than that, but they haven't necessarily faced a mobile quarterback quite like him yet this season. I mean, look at guys like Sean Clifford, Spencer Petras from Iowa, kind of statues in the pocket. Adrian Martinez is very much different than that. So it'll be a good test. I think Wisconsin's defense will be ready for the challenge, but I think it'll be a game similar to what we've seen from Nebraska all season long, that they're going to hang tough. And I know they fired some coaches offensively, but I'm sure those guys will come out and be hungry to try and prove something. So it'll be a fight for sure for Wisconsin.
All right, Tyler. Enjoy the game. We appreciate you stopping by as always.
Absolutely. Have a good one, Mark.